is Adan Alvarado, and today we'll be discussing the importance of sleep for brain function. Did you know that lack of sleep for just one night can be very detrimental for our brain health? Today's presentation will go over the process of which we sleep and why it is beneficial to our brains, and also tips for better sleep. The learning and memory stage is very, very important. Our brains are the central area for this. So when we lack sleep, it confuses our brains and mixes memories. Maybe you forget a lot of things, or maybe you even have trouble learning because it's too much for your brain. When everything is organized, our brain can work to its full potential and help us focus, which is why Brian and Brian say the things that we learned and our memories are organized and helps with focus, which only happens with a healthy brain and with a regular sleep schedule. So, regulating our emotions is very, very important to our lives because it makes or breaks our days and can also be very detrimental to our day to day lives. Because the most likely reason for someone not being able to regulate their emotions is because of their sleep schedule. And if their sleep schedule is all over the place, their emotions are going to be the same way. Lack of sleep increases stress levels and tires the brain from doing day to day activities, which means it's just very hard for us to find that motivation to get through the day and enjoy the things that we used to do, and it just makes it very difficult for us to live our normal lives. For decision making, we become more aware of our surroundings and make sound decisions when our brain is healthy and when we have the right amount of sleep. However, when we do get lack of sleep, it affects our brain's ability to make sound decisions and be aware of our surroundings. And this can be very, very scary when uh, we're asked a question during a meeting, business meeting, or by our boss at work or by a teacher in school. We might not be able to answer to our full potential because of how late our brain is reacting to the message that's being relayed to us. So when people ask us questions and we delay, that's most likely because of our lack of sleep. Our brain is trying to catch up to what is being asked of us, and now it has to not only process what's being said to us, what's being asked of us, but also we're trying to make a decision on what to say to that question. So we can sometimes make the wrong decisions, and that we'll later regret because we were not capable of answering to the best of our ability when the question was asked. So now we'll go over our stages of sleep that everyone should be getting. So N1 is a light stage. So the light stage is which is the beginning. It lasts for about like 1 to 5 minutes. This is when you're laying down in bed and you're ready to shut down. You're closing your eyes and you just you know are trying to get that start to sleep. N2 is when brain activity slows down, but there's very little activity that still goes on. So this is when we start feeling ourselves falling asleep. Uh, this part usually lasts for about 30 to 60 minutes, depending on the person. And also, you know, this part is where if anyone were to try to wake us up, we would feel that. Whereas when we're in our N3 stage, this is our deep sleep. So for some people, this is where they just are out. So they'll be sleeping and then almost nothing can wake them up. But this, like I said, all depends on the person. But this is 20% of our sleep, which means it can be up to 20 to 40 minutes of our night doing this. REM is our rapid eye movement stage. So this is when, like it says, our eyes are moving rapidly, which might sound weird, but is very normal. And we also become very temporarily paralyzed in our sleep. So and this also accounts for 25% of our sleep. And this stage also lasts for about 10 minutes. For some people, it occurs for almost an hour, but it does happen multiple times overnight. Some tips for better sleep is to expose yourself to natural light at least 20 minutes in the morning, stepping outside, getting some sun, develop a regular sleep schedule, avoid electronics before bed, exercise regularly, and avoid alcohol, nicotine, and caffeine. These tips are a way to build a good basis of what to do to improve our sleep, and our brains are a very important part of our lives. So making these changes in our lives can make a small difference in our brain health. So especially as a college student, since we sometimes have a high standard for ourselves to pass classes with a high grade and study through the night for that to happen, that might be beneficial for that night. However, it does affect your brain in the long term. So if you think it does help now, which it might be helping, it'll be more affecting on your brain later on. So in conclusion, we discussed all these 3 points here on this slide, but all I wanted to say is just take care of your brain, and you only get one. So in order to live a long and healthy life, we have to take care of the brains that we're given. Thank you.